Hey folks, Jim Thomas here, Fitness Management and Consulting, and welcome to our channel today. I appreciate y'all being here. And if you're new to the channel, if you're finding us that very first time, welcome. It's good to have you. And our topic for you today, it's 6 powerful things that you can do to improve decision making. 6 powerful things you can do to improve decision making. Now, before we get into our topic here today, just a quick reminder, my focus, my mission here in the channel is I want to be able to provide as much information as I can to as many people as I can, across all regions. And the best way I can do that is when you choose to subscribe to the channel. So if you've not yet done so, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. If you've already done that, thank you. And then to learn more about me, learn more about my company, and how we can help take your business that next level, be sure to check out those links below. And then for you folks who are looking to open a new gym and you need funding, if you have an existing operation, you may need working capital. We can help provide funding, for up to $400,000 in funding. It is unsecured. There's no restrictions on use, and the minimum qualifications to get approved is a minimum credit score of 680 or better in all 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and then a minimum income of $50,000 per year each of the 2 previous years. So check out the links below, financing and funding. There's numerous ways that we can help. There's several options for you depending on your unique situation. So with all that said, let's jump into our topic here today, and it's 6 powerful things you can do to improve decision making. I think people that get promoted, I know for me, when I got promoted, I was a salesperson. I became a manager, and the single biggest thing for me, the single biggest difference was making that decision. That's what I noticed right off the bat. I was kind of getting thrown, constantly had to make decisions, and had to be decisive in what I was going to do. And this can work its way up, if we're not careful. So look at some of these. If you're new at this, you're just getting into management, or maybe you're struggling a bit with some of this, see if this can help a little bit. So 6 powerful things to help you improve decision making. And so number 1, give yourself some time if possible. Give yourself some time if possible. Now, the counterbalance here, we're not trying to procrastinate. We're not trying to put something off. And some decisions you have to make, not all of them are big. Some of them are just really small. But a decision does have to be made. But if you can, give yourself some time. You kind of have to understand, what needs a decision now. If it's a customer coming in the gym, they've got a question, maybe you need to answer that question. But if it's something you can answer, don't try to. Give yourself some time. Let me get your information. Let me research this. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Offer some kind of specificity, if you do that. It's not meant to procrastinate, but give yourself a little bit of time. And we actually see this a lot, using that as an example with like customer service and things of that nature. When we're teaching customer service, customer calls up, they have a complaint, they have a question, they need to know something, they're not sure about something. We don't want to try to answer it, unless we know. We're going to log this into customer service logbook. We're going to do our research. We're going to get back to them within 24 hours, or maybe it's 48, depending on your situation. And so give yourself some time if possible. And really, if possible, you're trying to build this into some kind of a system, like when I'm talking with a customer service logbook or a maintenance logbook and things like that. Number 2, we're talking about improved decision making. Weigh out the pros and cons. Weigh out the pros and cons. We're talking about decision making. If it's big decisions, maybe you're looking at a new location, and maybe it's more rent. That might be a con. It's a con, but maybe more visibility, maybe more exposure, maybe more traffic flow. And so look at the pros and cons. It used to be, if you go back and read some of the old-time sales books, you'll see the Ben Franklin close in there. And what they'll talk about is, the way Ben allegedly used to make decisions is, he'd make a list of pros and cons. Here's all the reasons I should do something. Here's all the reasons I shouldn't, and help him make that final decision. So think about a pros and cons list when you have the time to sit down and look at this. So weigh it out. Number 3, consider all the possibilities. Here's a decision that needs to be made. Okay, maybe it's hiring somebody, maybe it's firing somebody, maybe it's a training class, maybe it's onboarding, maybe it's technology. Consider all the possibilities. Okay, or maybe consider all the reasonable possibilities. Okay, and maybe whoever's involved in that decision-making process, everyone brings to you, okay, here's an option, but consider all of them and what are the pros and cons of each. But you want to move quickly. You want to be, decisive on this and move forward. Okay, because even if you make what turns out to be the wrong decision, just fix it. I mean, give yourself a break. Okay, if you make the wrong one, just fix it. It's like I see this frequently, okay, where maybe a club made the wrong decision on where they're going to build their facility, okay, and they're paying way too much for rent, and the rent as a percentage is just way too high, and maybe you can never write enough revenue to get those percentages down. Well, there's things you can do. Okay, we'll go in there and we'll look at getting sublets. We'll look at selling advertising. We'll look at getting sponsors. Okay, there's things you can do. There's answers. I guess one of the big things you always want to think about is be in the solutions business. Don't just be in the problem identifying business. Be in the solutions business. So consider all possibilities. Number 4, we're talking about how to improve decision making. Talk it out. Talk it out. So here's one of the things I like to do. We're holding a meeting. Doesn't matter what kind of a meeting it is. It might be a board of directors meeting. It might be a management meeting. It might be a sales meeting. It might be an operations meeting. It could be anything. It could be a new hire meeting. I'll start everything out the same way. Hey, talk about what's working well. Talk about what's not. Talk about what you're comfortable with. Talk about what you're not. We've got a decision to make. Tell me, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Let's talk about it. Let's get everybody involved. Okay, I want to hear what everybody has to say, and then I'll make that final call. So, don't be afraid to talk it out. Okay. Now, number 5 on my list here of 6 powerful things you can do to improve decision making. Plan how you're going to tell other people. I think this is one of the big ones I see is plan how you're going to tell other people. Well, if we're going to do this, now I have to tell somebody. I have to explain this to somebody. And a lot of times that's a little bit of the rub, okay, in wanting to make that decision. So plan how you'll tell other people. Now, one of the things that I've always liked to do on this, I'll let someone know, hey, here's what we're going to be doing, but here is why. And tell them why, okay? And, hear them out, okay? They may have an opinion, they may agree, disagree, but hear them out, okay? They may have some good thoughts, and you know what? You might find you implement some of those thoughts, down the road. But plan how you'll deliver this message, okay? And again, here's what we're going to do, but here's why we're going to do it. Here's how we think it's going to benefit you. And then number 6 on how to improve decision making, rethink your options. Are these the only options? Are there other options available? Do your research on this. What are other options? Okay, it is one of the things I think as a consultant, one of the things that I have that really works to our favor is when we're working with clubs and they'll say, well, hey, I want to try this, and hey, we've seen it over here, and here's what happened. Okay, so if you do it, here's the little tweak you want to make to it. You can see some of that, and it does make a difference. So, rethink your options. It doesn't have to be exactly what you're looking at now. It might end up being something totally different. If you, talk it out, if you look at all the possibilities, you weigh the pros and cons, all of a sudden, maybe you come up with something different. So take a look at 6 powerful things you can do to improve decision making. Being able to make that decision, I think for a lot of folks, particularly if you're new at it, new as an owner, new as a director, new as a manager, that can be one of the more challenging things to do. We can get stalled out sometimes. Sometimes we can get paralyzed. So, folks, appreciate you being here today. Again, my name is Jim Thomas, and we look forward to seeing y'all in that next video. And if you've not yet done so, make sure you take a moment, subscribe to the channel, take a moment, check out those links below. You can learn more about me and how we can help take your business that next level. And then as a final reminder, for you folks looking to open a new gym, you have an existing operation, you need funding, we can help provide funding for up to $400,000 in funding. It's unsecured. There's no restrictions on use. Minimum credit score of 680 or better in all 3 credit bureaus. Minimum income of $50,000 per year each of the 2 previous years. You can check our links below under financing and funding for additional information and additional ways that we can provide funding for you. So again, appreciate you being here on the channel today, and we look forward to seeing you all in that next video.